Explained by the Billy Meier contacts, mysteries, myths, legends, conspiracy theories, historical inaccuracies, and more. Compiled by David Chance, revised October 18, 2023.
Magic supernatural. See also incantations. Contact Report 007.
Okay, and what's up with the so-called display of power, the magic?
Regarding this, you are best oriented, and you know exactly that it does not exist in the form that is generally assumed and advocated. Magic is based on consciousness-based plus and minus powers.
Thus, good and evil, or in other words, positive and negative?
I have already said that you are most accurately oriented and knowing about it.
Magnetic poles: North Pole, the South Pole, North Magnetic Pole, South Magnetic Pole. See also North Pole discovery. Contact Report 031.
I have a few other questions, if there is time. One question concerns our Earth, or the magnetic poles of our Earth. I often worry about this because the weather and the climate seem to go crazy for me. I experienced the last correct spring, summer, autumn, and winter in 1947. Since then, however, everything has changed almost abruptly. I combine this with the atomic bomb explosions, namely, that these could be to blame. But this is denied by dear science. On the 6th of August 1945, the first atomic bomb exploded over Hiroshima, and a few days later the second over Nagasaki. I calculated that the atomic radiation needed a full 2 years to encircle the globe of the Earth, despite the claims of atomic scientists, etc., to the contrary. When this happened, the climate was fundamentally affected. I can only imagine, however, that this enclosure must have happened at very high altitudes and acted on the Earth like a mantle. On the one hand, this is true. On the other hand, however, the explosions must also have caused a polar movement, which led to some kind of far-reaching things. Am I correct in this, or am I on the wrong track with my assumptions?
The Earth's magnetism has been and will continue to be disturbed by other similar bombs and also by the atomic bomb explosions. That means a very weak recoil effect was and is exerted on the Earth by the explosions, whereby this is influenced in hardly measurable values among other things in the rotation. This means that the Earth is forced out of its normal rotation and then slowly seeks a new self-rotation orbit. However, the Earth's orbit around the Sun was also affected in very small values, and the planet was pushed slightly out of its normal orbit. Thus, from the 1940s until now, Earth scientists have committed a vicious crime against their own planet and against all mankind, and they will continue to do so. For all the explosions carried out to date have forced changes that are of very far-reaching significance, and these can have very catastrophic effects. The magnetic poles of North and South have already shifted considerably in recent years. Today, for example, the magnetic pole in the North is already offset in the Canadian Arctic Ocean, while the South Pole has also shifted and is moving towards South America, which cannot be attributed solely to the Earth's periodic shift. Around the turning point of the 5th millennium, that is to say, in a little more than 3,000 years, the changes in the Earth's magnetic poles will have progressed to such an extent that the South Pole will be located in South America, while the North Pole will have moved towards Saudi Arabia. The point of the North Pole in the year 5000 that can be calculated so far resulted in a location between Jeddah on the Red Sea and the Islamic pilgrimage city of Mecca. This means that you have hit the nail on the head with your calculations, namely that the Earth's magnetic poles were indeed influenced.
Contact Report 039.
Okay, then I have another question regarding Mount Shasta. I have already talked about this with Simyase, but something still seems unclear to me. Simyase told me that distant descendants of the Hyperboreans now live in Mount Shasta, on the Aleutian Islands, and in Alaska. Enoch, however, and also Emmanuel, spoke of the winds between the east and west, or between the north and west. From this, I always thought that the green land of the Hyperboreans, so Hyperborea, must have been somewhere far up north, in Greenland or something. But now, this does not make sense anymore with Mount Shasta. What should I now think of this?
At the time of Enoch, the North Pole was situated differently than what is the case today. Through cosmic influences and through an upset of the Earth, the North Pole at that time shifted far to the west. The central point of the North Pole at that time is identical to present-day Florida in America. The polar regions at the time of Enoch were wondrous landscapes filled with palms and other tropical vegetation. Similar conditions can still be found today in the former Hyperborea, so in Florida.
Contact Report 079.
I actually found out some things. For example, why everything down here in the Sohar Center Meditation Center becomes and is much more pronounced than it usually is. Somehow, however, it is incomprehensible to many that the compass needle shows 2 different north directions within 1 meter of horizontal displacement.
You should not officially spread these concerns yet, because so-called experts would accuse you of fraud and deception again. Although a very strong north deviation actually exists, and the compass needle in reality shows the old and the new location of the magnetic positive pole of the Earth, at least at present, but this will correct itself in 2 decades. The pole of the Sohar Center points very precisely to the old magnetic pole, which is also valid at present, while the compass needle at the house points to the new positive pole of the Earth, namely in the direction of Greenland, where this magnetic pole is now located.